Uh,
Why were you obsessed with Neil Blender?
I think everybody was obsessed with Neil Blender. First of all, again, Mike Neese introduced the name Neil Blender to me by joking the name and saying Neil Blinder with a flashlight. So the name always stuck. And after watching him skate, he didn't skate like everybody else. He kind of did off-the-wall tricks and he landed them. Things that other people weren't doing, and he looked like he was having a good time. He looked like he had actually studied the physics of a skateboard and said, you know, these things are possible. I think I'll try these things rather than these things that were there, and they were possible. So I think he kind of inspired a lot of people to try different things that no one really thought was possible before.
Why did you skateboard?
Oh boy. I have to say probably in the beginning, it was a close thing to doing skimboarding. I really liked skimboarding at the time, and a lot of kids in the neighborhood were starting to get into skateboarding, so maybe I was a conformist. But I think after a few years, when I started to feel more comfortable with myself as a skateboarder, it gave me an identity. It challenged me. Something in my life that I could push myself with and feel good about pushing myself with, and feel good about the fact that I could succeed and land certain tricks and go on and feel better about it and do better and excel. So skateboarding gave me a reason to really fight for something to get better at.
What was your worst injury, and how did you motivate yourself to keep skating?
Let's see, I had hyperextended my knee when I was 15, twisted my ankle when I was 16, sprained my ankle when I was 21, and at 40 I had a hip replacement. So I have to say the hip replacement's probably the top thing, because I lost my whole mobility in my leg once the hip replacement came in. So to keep skateboarding, I do things that doesn't require my mobility of that leg. Like, I can't ollie very good anymore, but riding and grinding and stuff like that, still stuff I can do.
How many fingers do you have?
9 and 9/10. I'm missing a little bit of that pinky, so almost 10.
Why did you decide to make this film?
Because time is like a thief in the night. Before you know it, you'll be 80 years old, or everybody you know will be gone, because time takes everybody from you eventually, and before you know it, no one will ever know about any of these things that ever happened unless you document them, unless you find the people that they happen to and you hear from their mouth, their words of what happened. It's important to document things, and this is an important thing that happened in my life as far as, you know, becoming an adult. So I thought it was an important thing to make a documentary about, especially people, how things have changed in Davis. A lot of people don't know what happened back in the 80s here.
Any distinct slang you can remember from back in the day?
There's a lot of them. I mean, depends on what group you're in. There was, you know, the hip-hop movement was just starting. The whole Janet Jackson hip-hop dance thing was kind of getting going, and like it's a real big thing now, but it was just starting then. So there was a lot of those funny, like, little things, you know, Funky Fresh Posse, you know, the Funky Fresh Flow. There were white guys who thought they were black. We all called them milk chickens. They were in low riders and had like the heavy bass. FedEx. Yeah, the milk chickens. They had like the heavy bass and like the low riders. They usually had mullets. They kind of looked like Kid Rock. Trying to think, what were some of the other ones? Lates. Some people couldn't finish words. The whole evolution of saying later. See you later. Laters. Lates. La. And then eventually it was just the L sound. Yut. When things were really cheesy, they were yut. I don't know, yeah, there's a lot of them.
What's your favorite memory from back in the day?
Probably 1989. People I liked to skate with was Matthias, Tom Parks, Aaron, Zanetto, Chris Gunyon, Mike Neese, Adam Wright, Paul Jarrett, Sage Jarrett, Tim Lane, Oi Nago. 89, we got together just about every day in the back parking lot of Aggie Liquor, along with the kids from East Davis, Jerome Vigil, Carlos Quiros, Kevin Kaloff, J.K. Monagle, John Vanderhoff, Todd Lewis, Jake Zender. It's like a mosh posh of kids. Guy Chapman. And yeah, we all skated together just about every day, and that was like some of the funnest times. 1989 skate sessions in the Aggie Liquor. Okay. Any other questions you want to ask?
Yeah, let's do a little part about your board. Why you ride boards like that?
About this one?
Yeah, like explain your setup sort of thing.
My setup. This board is probably about 32 inches high. This one's probably about 9.3, 9.4, maybe 9.5 wide. I like them about that wide, that big, because it's like a sidewalk surfing style. I like a good riser in there. Wheels, I like it about 60 millimeter. Trucks, I like really wide. And loose. The more it feels like you're surfing or skimboarding, the better it feels for me. It's nostalgic. So, yeah.
I think that's good.
Okay.